Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 3 p.m. on Tuesday, May 21st, and we're going to start off with Councillor Heistad giving the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, and Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, with the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived on and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Thank you. Moving on to 2.1, any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. For your council consideration, under 4.4, just to follow up to the delegation, Rotary Club, and then 2 in-camera items for your consideration, 1 being adding on to in-camera, 8.4 being economic development, section 197.2 of the MGA and Freedom of Information Privacy Acts, section 16.1b, as well as intermunicipal collaboration as per the MGA 197.2, Freedom of Information Privacy, section 24.1, please.
Thank you. Could I have somebody move the agenda as amended, please?
I'll move the agenda as amended.
Thank you. All in favor? And next, 3.1, Rotary Club. Welcome Tammy Thompson, and I'd like you to come forward if possible, please. And then Director Kennedy, if you'd like to do an introduction.
Sure. So, Council, yeah, so just a quick introduction for Tammy and the Rotary Club. So a few months ago, the Rotary Club reached out to administration to talk about potential partnerships of a bike park facility over at the old BMX track area. So back in April, we met with Tammy and did some research and found a consultant, Jay Hoots, who is a local consultant that does a lot of parks here in town, in Canada, as well in Alberta. Very familiar with the Black Falls area. He has that pump track there and bike park. So a lot of experience to get us a little bit of background on what exactly a partnership would look like and what type of bike park facility would best suit us. So during the meeting, we did review some opportunities of what a bike park facility would look like. I guess through that collaboration with them, potential first step would be to engage potentially the consultant with the Rotary Club, maybe other members, to look at a vision and a master plan of that area, of what suits our area as a community, as well as looking at the outside, the broader area as a region, and what suits our area, just so that we don't have a bunch of redundancies and take away from other communities as well. So that kind of gives you a little bit of background, I guess, in regards to where this is, and I can just hand it over to Tammy from there.
Thank you very much. Council members, thank you for allowing me to present today. As mentioned, my name is Tammy Thompson, and I'm the current president of the Rotary Club of Innisfail. I think Stephen did a lot of my job for me, so I'm very thankful. We would like to present a project that the Rotary Club is hoping that the town of Innisfail would consider a financial partnership. A pump track located at the bottom of the Cemetery Hill that, as Stephen mentioned, has been used in the past for a BMX track. I did print out some of the pamphlets from the company named Hoots that I believe you may have already had previously. From my understanding, the cost can vary depending on what the vision of the project is. You can pretty much have a finished project from anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000. You can also do it in stages. So if you did a project, decided in maybe a couple years that, hey, this is a booming project, we'd like to expand, that is also an option to do. I would ask that maybe council would consider this for the 2025 budget. The project, I feel, would enhance our community a lot. It would serve all ages, all genders. Anybody can use this. It would attract families to our community. Currently, we have several community members that travel to other towns to use the same type of parks. So why not have them travel to our town to use our park? I think in the past there was some hesitation about building the skateboard park. There's not a day goes by that I don't see multiple people of all ages using that park. So I think that this would be used as much as that, if not more. There are some grants that Rotary can apply for that we would definitely look into if it's something that we can partnership with. At this time, I don't have a commitment from our club. We need a little more information on where we stand with the town, and but I could see us doing a project like this and making it very successful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything from any of my fellow council members? Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thanks for coming today, Tammy, and for the information, and thank you, Director Kennedy. You said something about the project could be done in stages. So if we had something that was a finished product at 200,000, what would be the first stage of something like that so that it was usable after that stage? Do you have information that goes that detailed?
I don't have all the information. I think that part of the pamphlet that I gave you would answer some of those questions. It would be a usable park right off the bat, though, if we were to just do it in stages. They can definitely use it. The next stage would be to grow it. So maybe there's some other obstacles that could be put into the park or make it larger.
Okay. Okay, that's, it looks and sounds exciting. And then the initial consultations at $20,000 to $30,000, that would be outside of any kind of development?
Correct.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Messaros. Anyone else? Councillor Heistad.
Yeah, I just a couple questions. Has a club or working with administration? I know there's the one BMX track that I don't think it's been used since 1999, very rarely. But has the club and administration also looked at other sites in our community, like closer to the skateboard park, because there's a bit of a fit there with skateboarding and you know, using BMX bikes and tracks like that in a similar fashion? Or is it just stuck on the one site itself? I'm just curious, and the reason why being is we have that 9-hole disc throw as well, and we're looking at other expansions and other opportunities in our community for recreation, and I appreciate that it's a 2025 earmark. You know, the goal is to look out further because we have numerous needs in our community that we have to try to fit and match up as possible. So those are my questions for now. Thanks.
We're not committed to any particular site. That was just one site that came to mind right off the bat because it was kind of used for a similar type area. We just want to build a park that would be used. So it's visible, it's, you know, what people are wanting, what they're traveling to go to right now. If there were other options available, we would definitely consider that.
Councillor Dunham, or Deputy Mayor, what is the club looking at, like, for grant funding? Are they looking at additional, like, have they looked, you know, 200 to $1 million? You know, what's that range in mind?
So I'll be totally open and honest here. We don't have a lot of information on that yet. I know that there is some district Rotary grants that we can apply for. I have to have our secretary look into what's available for those fundings. There is the community enhancement grant that we can also apply for. And right now, that's all I have available.
Okay, no, that's good to know. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Heistad. Anyone else? No? Tammy, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Next, I will ask for somebody to make a motion that we accept this as information.
Deputy Mayor, I would like to make that motion.
All in favor? Thank you so much. We'll be
Thank you guys
discussing later
very
on in the
much.
agenda.
Thank you. I'm free.
All right, next, moving on to 4.1, strategic priorities update with CAO Becker.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Just, again, it's for your information. There has not been a formal update. That'll likely come towards the end of the second quarter, but if there's any questions in regards to the priorities, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, could I have somebody make the recommended motion, please, that we accept? Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I so move.
All in favor? All right, moving on to 4.2, request for information, the ICF framework bylaw with CAO Becker.
Thank you. Just for information, Council, talked a little bit recently about intermunicipal collaboration framework. The information before you was reviewed at the IDP committee meeting, which is not formally part of the IDP committee's purview so much, but as the committee was updated on the intermunicipal development plan, felt it was fitting just to go through the ICF component with them, just to see that connection. But this is now to pull in the rest of council, just of what ICF is. We haven't really talked about it since the initial approval back in 2019, and just thought it was fair for you, council, to understand what the ICF is due to our strong relationship we have with Red Deer County. Just to walk through some of the framework itself, so the report's here for your information, but just to go more specifically into the framework, we'd like to go into Clause C, please, Juanita.
C?
Yes, please. So just in general terms, the ICF, which is mandated by the government through the MGA, municipalities, so just to give you an idea, we have an ICF agreement with Red Deer County. Red Deer County would have one with Bowden, Innisfil, Penhold, Lacombe County, Clearwater County, Sylvan Lake, Mountain View County, etc. Kind of get the idea. What this states, both municipalities agree consideration of providing their own services, and then also at the same time find services that do line up that we could provide together. So we still offer services separately. We have arrangements, other arrangements, but we also provide services jointly, which we'll kind of go through. Section D, sorry, I'd like to go back to C for 1 second, and actually it's really important to state that Section D indicates that residents of the municipalities, being Red Deer County and the Innisfil, will be afforded the same services at the same cost, including user fees, as the town of Innisfil residents for services provided by Red Deer County, and Red Deer County residents for services provided by the town of Innisfil. So said it before, but this is a little bit cleaner. So Section D, what this states is both municipalities will continue to provide the following services to their residents independently. So there's a list there, A through N, that we provide these services independently of each other. Then in Section 2, services being provided directly or indirectly to the residents. So for example, assessment services, water services, wastewater services, etc. Going into number 3, municipalities, being town and Red Deer County, have the independent agreements with other regional partners. So it just outlines the rights of each municipality as per the ICF. But in E, I like to refer to E in the event that either municipality initiates the development of a new project and or service that may require a new cost sharing agreement, the initiating municipality's CAO will notify the other CAO in writing. The notification will include a general description of the project, estimated costs, and timing of expenditures. The other party will advise if they have any objections in principle and provide funding to the project and provide reasons with opportunity to discuss the project at the intermunicipal committee. There is following criteria would be used to assessing the desirability of funding on new projects. I won't read that to you. And then continues on to outline the different process, procedure associated with exploring opportunity, possibility between both municipalities. Number 6 there, both municipalities recognize that the decision to participate in or not participate in a project ultimately lies with the respective municipal council. So although there may be an expectation, there has to be a sense that it may not be the best timing, or there may be argument against the proposal. We can't just indicate we're in a partnership with this project. The rest of the policy outlines dispute resolution, etc. But just want to spend a little bit of time with you, council. If there's any questions, just more education, understanding, but just to highlight some of the work that we do with Red Deer County.
Thank you, CEO Becker. Any comments or questions? I think that's a no. Okay, we'll move on to 4.3.
We'll just
Oh, sorry, Councillor Messaros.
Sorry, I was just behind the line there. Okay. I have one question, and that is E6. And when we're talking about the decision to participate or not participate in a project can refer to something that is new that we're building, for instance, or something like an agreement, for instance, the Policing and Safe Communities Committee, something like that.
Yeah, definitely, Councillor Messaros, Deputy Mayor Councillor Messaros. Yeah, that could be explored. Both those being a new project. We have not followed this process at all since it's been put in through bylaw. So it's a potential that you may wish to consider that, but for the Aquatic Center or the joint or the exploring the policing, regional policing committee, I believe would be subject to this process if that's something council wishes to utilize.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, CEO Becker, for this deeper dive into the bylaw. I think after our meeting with Red Deer County, it's really good that we're all getting either more exposure to this or understanding it more completely. Could I please have somebody make the recommended motion?
I just had a question, Deputy Mayor Dunham. It's okay.
Mayor Barclay.
No, it's just through to CEO Becker. I'm curious your thoughts around C and that balancing off with E6. So we're talking about same services at the same costs, and yet number 6 potentially we may not want to participate.
Your question, Mayor Barclay? To Mayor Barclay's question point, yeah, it's what it is. The framework is a framework to guide conversation and to understand, philosophies, the regional interaction supports, the regional cooperation component. So it's really his ability to really understand how we function, what's important to Innisfil may be somewhat different than the county, or vice versa. So it's really the intention is to really pose the question on how do we best work together to serve the region. So not really a great response, but that's kind of my immediate thoughts.
Thank you.
Can I
Councillor Wing?
just to add, or just ask for some clarification around that? So, in other words, though, one of the two partners could decline the participation in a capital project, but then still make a contribution to a program that would ensure that their residents would be treated equitably. Is that kind of the question? So, don't want to help build it, but will use it and contribute from that perspective?
That's per Councillor Wing's question. Yeah, that would be a consideration based on an interaction between both municipalities, and of course, a disagreement. There is a disagreement process, which is can be utilized if one of the partners feels we strongly believe they should be able to access the services or contribute. then there's that process to potentially utilize. But it really is, again, it's a mutual understanding, the benefits of the services one municipality provides to another, and how they benefit, and if and when there should be support, whether it's financial or in other means.
Anyone else? No? Could I please have somebody make the recommended motion?
I'll
Mayor
make the
Barclay.
recommended motion. Deputy Mayor, that council accept the Intermunicipal Collaboration Framework Bylaw update as information.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. Everyone in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, moving on to 4.3, Dolphin Swim Club, request for decision with Director Jenkins.
Thank you. We've received a request from the Dolphin Swim Club regarding their facility rentals. So the Dolphin Swim Club utilizes the Aquatic Center from May through August 15th each year, with club practices Monday to Fridays from 5 to 7 p.m., as well as hosting a one-day meet. The club has submitted a request for consideration of relief of 50% of their pool fees for their practice time and 100% of their meet day charges. The total 2024 rental charges are projected to be between $11,000 and $12,000. In 2023, the club approached council as well to request a waiver of rental fees. So last year, council did not approve a waiver of the fees. However, they did approve that the 2023 charges would not be subject to late penalties until December of 2025. So the club would still have to pay the full amount, but they would not be accruing interest charges on their outstanding balance through till the end of 2025. This was intended to allow the club to fundraise and recover without incurring those penalties. The club has currently paid about 50% of their 2023 charges and have an outstanding balance of $6,133. So included in your package is the direct request from the Dolphins, again, highlighting their request to discount 50% of their pool fees to alleviate the financial pressures the club is facing. So today being an A&P meeting, not necessarily able to make a formal motion on this, but feedback to administration that could be brought back next week.
Anyone with any questions or any feedback? Mayor Barclay.
Deputy Mayor Dunham through to Director Jenkins. I would like to see some more information come back. I guess I'm curious with the funding announcement from Sport and Tourism, if there's anything available for somebody like the Dolphins, even if it's just for the swim meet. Also, Alberta Council seems to be very much into the grant game, so maybe reach out to them. And I guess I'm just curious about, I guess, just gathering information and, you know, what does the sponsorship package look like that they've been trying to get out to the community for sponsorship from corporate donors and stuff, and what all are they doing to try to raise funds? And thank you.
Councillor Bates.
Yeah, I also would like some more information, and I just don't know the swimming rates and fraternity at all. Can we get some information as to what other communities charge for that type of use of their facility? And it's awkward because nobody wants to inflict hardship, but like I have a good idea of what it costs if you want to put a boy into hockey or a girl into hockey at a certain age group. And you either play or you don't, I guess, is what that one gets down to. And yeah, I need to know.
Can I ask, are you looking for like registration fees or
Yeah,
pool
what do they
rental
pay
rates?
to participate?
Okay, so the
like,
registration fees, okay.
for those X number of months, and like I say, are our charges similar to Olds or Didsbury or whoever else has a pool?
Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I have the same concerns for the Dolphins as I did last year. I think the root of the problem is in the second paragraph of the letter, and that is you can fundraise till the cows come home, but if you're not getting enough participants, I think that's the key problem. And so reduction of swimmers registered, it was a problem last year, is remaining a problem. So I wonder if there's an opportunity for them to redo their business plan as far as how they use the pool, how many hours a week, how many hours a day, how many swimmers at a time, that kind of thing. I mean, potentially, if they don't need as much time in the pool, that may free up public swimming time in the summertime when families would like to be able to go and swim as well. So I'm just curious as to what they, after a couple of years of this now, what they think the future looks like.
And I believe, again, swimmer registration numbers are quite low again this year. I know Aquatic Center staff has tried to work with them in terms of, like, we will rent the pool by the lane, right? That if you only need 4 lanes instead of, it reduces the amount. Even if hardly anyone uses those 2 remaining lanes during the slot, it does reduce the cost that you would be paying.
Yeah.
But-
I'd like to see comment back from them on that, please. Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Then could I please have somebody make the recommended motion? Councillor Heistad.
Yeah, I'll recommend that council accept this report as information.
Thank you. All in favor? Passed. Thank you so much. And moving on to 4.4, follow up with Rotary Club. Just a little bit more information, I guess, from admin and a little discussion with all of us.
Just to lead in, may look at the director, but again, you heard from a delegation. How this was started, as per the director stated, contacted by the Rotary. We didn't want to get too ahead of ourselves on council. Would you want to entertain to look at the project or not? We didn't want to, again, step into the realm of moving a project forward without your acknowledgement or not. Administration has put together this report for your consideration, a little bit of background, and a potential funding requirement if you wish to go to the next step of scoping or planning for consideration for a future budget. So I'll leave it there. Director, if you have anything.
Sure, yeah. I guess, I think council did have those questions in regards to locations and other things. I think that's what that vision, that master plan would kind of flush out is that the best location? Is a pump track what we need? Is it a bike park that we need that best suits the area? Again, I think that's where this vision and master planning process would really come into play and then help even with Rotary Club on what is that big vision, because it can be so varied in regards to what it is. Because one of the things that really, I guess, we learned from the process of chatting with Hoots Limited is the importance of having that vision and use, multi-use as well, so that you aren't just putting a BMX track in. And look at the area. If Penhold is already building a pump track, why would we do a pump track? If they're doing that, what suits us better to work together with them and make it a regional work? And then now all of a sudden that opens up opportunity potentially for more funding options because it's regional. So yeah, we learned a lot of information from it. As per the report, kind of what does that take? It's in that 20,000, 30,000 to look at that, go through the summer public consultations, all that type of stuff is what that looks like, to get us an idea of what are we looking at? Because yeah, right now it is pretty up in the air. We really don't know.
Thank you. Councillor Heistad.
So and I was good with this as information, and I think that's what we passed. We did pass that, right? So it's just, what are the next steps? And I, my question would be how much, really? You're saying 2030. I know in the past we've made recommendations for, light, or was it, studies and that, and we made those, after an A&P or a meeting itself. Just the big thing for me is the fit with our recreation, and if this is if this is it, or this is one of many things, and how do we make this fit? And that's why I asked the questions I did. So thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you, Councillor Heistad. I guess what we can look at is if we want to defer this to budget in the fall, or if we want to ask admin to come back next week with a motion to, for us to direct admin to come back with the $20,000-$30,000 for the budget to actually do the consultation, where, Mayor Barclay.
Deputy Mayor through to, I guess, Director Kennedy. I think there's been interest in bike park, BMX, pump track, whatever, over the last several years. This just isn't new. This not something that's new, that's coming forward. Full disclosure, I am a Rotarian, of course, so just want to make sure that people are aware of that, those who are not. But I would personally like to see us move into the phase of creating that plan and a vision and see what that looks like and where it fits. And of course, there are grants available through CFIP, et cetera, that could be applied for, but the sooner that is done, as we know, the better. But it would take a little bit to get a plan and a vision in place and work with user groups in the community and school groups if possible, and see what that looks like. And
Councillor Bates.
Yes, I have one question, I guess, through to the director, probably. With respect, and it reflects back to Councillor Heistad's question about that specific location. I think I remember in the last few months us securing funding and authorizing the environmental testing in that area. And have we had any results back yet on that? As it reflects to that location. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
But we did present back in regards to last year's testing, so I guess process for that area, the landfill, is to continue on with just testing and monitoring of the site for the next 3 years to get a baseline, to get a full understanding of what that site looks like. With the understanding, obviously, with anything that goes in that area would have to be surface up. It wouldn't be surface down. So that would be something that would have to go into the consultation and consideration in the design if that's the area that's chosen. That's definitely things that need to be considered, though, in that master plan.
So I think my only concern would be is if we were investing in that site, if we saw any trend that we would want to question whether we invest. That would be my thoughts. But
Councillor Wing.
Thank you. Through to Director Kennedy. I'm curious, I appreciate that we have talked about this in the past, but I would just like a brief update on 2 other pieces, please, if possible, because I know the people in the community are going to want to understand where the other pieces fit. So the second phase of the disc golf course with the Kinsmen, I think the Kinsmen are waiting on word as to how to proceed to get that finished up. The participation on the disc golf course is amazing, and they love the facilities at Centennial Park for that. So I know that will be a question that arises. And also an update on Dodds Lake. Will there be any further work done as far as beachfront parking lot, street, any of that, or is Dodds Lake now just going to stay as it is? Thank you.
I guess we'll start with the disc golf. So the disc golf, the Kinsmen did approach the town in regards to the back 9. Us and Parks, myself and Parks foreman went and had a look at it. We're meeting with them on Friday to just have a review to address some of the concerns that we have in regards to their proposal. So we are trying to work forward with the Kinsmen on that and just trying to move that forward. In regards to Dodds Lake, that's another project that's just continued monitoring. We did provide council with a budgetary cost in the 200,000 range in order to, if it was council's direction to remove the contaminant, it's in that price range to do that. So that would be I guess, capital consideration for the future if that's what council's wishes were to move forward with a parking lot and removal of contaminants in that site. So hopefully that answers everything.
Thank you. That helps, thanks.
Anyone else? So I guess we're moving forward to potentially have something come back at the next regular council meeting for a motion to start the consultation.
I have not heard that, Deputy Mayor. If that's the case, then provide that direction. If not, right now it's accepted as information.
Yeah, and I didn't hear that as a motion sitting here, but what I did hear was ongoing discussion and how we can still learn about this project itself. That's what I was getting out of it, as to no formal motion. And me personally sitting here, I think there's a ton of needs, not only this park itself, but how do we map out our master plan with our trails and incorporating these things together. So that's where I'm at for now. I think the project has a ton of potential. It's just mapping out all our goals. That's how I'm looking at the big picture. We got a pool to build. We have all these other things to deal with, and how do we make this all fit? I think it's a great project. I do think this site is that's one to comment in the future, and I'll go from there. That's all I got. So.
Thank you. I'd just like to make a couple comments. I have had discussions with community members in the past couple of years regarding bike track and what the future might be, and at one point was asked to advocate for it, which unfortunately I did not have time to do. So I have heard in the community that there is interest in this. But if council, if we're all sitting here at this point in time, that have accepted his information and we do not want to move forward with anything, I did hear Mayor Barclay mention something, so Mayor Barclay, do you want to?
Well, I think if we're going to take a look at what the vision looks like, then we need to go this next step, because we won't know otherwise. We do have a trail master plan that's been done. So I guess I would make the motion that we ask administration to bring back information next week around moving forward with a plan for this bike park.
CEO Becker, we're good with that?
Motion's understood from administration.
Yep.
It's up to
Okay.
council.
All right, all in favor? The motion? Or, sorry, any more discussion? My apologies.
I'm in.
Councillor Heistad.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of discussion that we need on this one. I really do. And you guys, I'm going to harp on that site. We haven't done the study yet. Site's terrible. I don't like the site. I think that if you're going to build a track like this, I grew up in the Lower Mainland where BMXing and this stuff. This is where this comes from. We live in a climate of winter of 6 months a year. So how do we make something that can adapt to the life that we have in rural central Alberta? And this is where I think that trail plan and this would have to work, trying to make that work within our community. And I do see the ridership in our skateboard park has been awesome, and I see there's a fit there with those two. If you're going to have the skateboard park, but it comes down to planning out the next 4 or 5 years. And I think that if there's anything that we get criticized, or I've been criticized sitting around this table, is we just do one project at a time. We're never mapping things out, and that's where I'm at. So thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Bates?
Yeah, I would like to hear the answers to some of the questions that we did raise. I find it, I have this vision that there'll be a presentation next week to go ahead with the commitment to do the actual spend $30,000-$40,000 to do the design, and not knowing where it should be and all that kind of stuff. So that leaves me a little bit hollow as far as that admin really has the direction of what we want. Because if that comes back and it's specific to that site, then there's all those questions around that site. And if it's not specific to that site, where is it?
Mayor Barclay.
So Deputy Mayor, through to Director Kennedy, maybe I misunderstood. I thought that's what the plan was to do, was to look at potential sites and where this would be the best fit in the community and how it fits with other recreation as well. I think that you mentioned that in your report, so maybe I'm misunderstanding what we're bringing back or what we're looking to do.
Sure, Barclay and Council. Yeah, that is the visioning part of it. I'm also hearing is reference in regards to how does this relate to our previous studies is important to is what I'm hearing from Council as well. So we did have some larger reports done in the past. I guess, making note of that, we can definitely bring that back into play and how this relates into our bigger vision. I'm hearing that from Council as well. So definitely these are things that are part of that visioning and master planning, so that we're not starting from square one. It's using the reports that we have in place from the previous number of years, and how does this tie in to everything. So I'm definitely hearing that from Council as well.
Councillor Messaros?
Sure, I think just to reiterate what, what I think I'm hearing is that we have a motion for administration to bring back information, so then we can have a discussion about what the next potential steps are. I think, right?
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So I would support that.
CO Becker, for clarification, is that what you're hearing? Is we're not coming back next week?
Yeah, looking at the director, looking at likely next week, be an outline as per your conversation. If the motion would proceed, it would be administration come back to you looking for probably $30,000. Probably confirm that through conversation to fund a development of scope, master plan of a park, inclusive of potential locations in the community, not solely on one.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions? No? Then take a vote on the motion from Mayor Barclay. All in favor? All opposed? All right, moving on. Before we get into 5.1 correspondence information, I do want to acknowledge, which I should have done earlier on, that we are currently in National Public Works Week, and I just want to give a shout out on behalf of myself and all of council to our public works people here in Innisfail and the wonderful job that they do. So I know a lot of times we see them around, but I don't think that they get the recognition that they so deserve, especially in midwinter when it's -40 out. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to our Director Kennedy for all his work with them as well. All right, so moving on to 5.1, correspondence and information. Any discussion? CO Becker.
Deputy Mayor, just acknowledging June the 3rd to 9th as Seniors Week. I believe we just saw correspondence coming in asking for your consideration for proclamation. Today would be appropriate. If not, you could wait for that correspondence to declare June 3rd to 9th as Seniors Week.
So sorry, to clarify, someone here can make a motion today?
Yeah, to proclaim.
To
Yeah.
proclaim it?
Yes.
Councillor
Deputy
Wing.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion then that we declare Seniors Week June 3rd to 9th, 2024.
Thank you very much. Councillor Wing, all in favor? Passed. Thank you so much. Anything else? Questions, comments? If not, could I have somebody make a motion that we accept the correspondence information as information? Councillor Bates,
Deputy Mayor, I'll make that motion.
all in favor? Thank you. And moving into roundtable discussion, and myself to begin. I was actually out of town working last week, so I was not at any of the functions. I will be attending the water treatment tour on Thursday, as well as the Deep Sky session on Thursday as well. And moving on to Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I attended via Zoom the RDR mug meeting on last week, and I missed the tour deliberately to Blind Lost to look at their irrigation project that's on the go there. That's halfway to Montana, and I didn't feel it was necessary to go down and look at the prairie. So, but we did get an update, and it's a very huge project. It's going to cost a lot of dollars, and they're feverishly working on putting that into place. The big thing that came out of our Zoom meeting on last week was we're going to develop a strategic plan for RD Mug, and they've asked for volunteers to participate in that, and I've put my name forth, so we'll see how that shakes out. There's a lot of interest in that strategic plan. I think the focus of RD Mug has shifted a little bit with what's happening big time with the water situation and drought over time. So that's it. I'll also be attending the water plant tour this week and the Premier's meeting later in the evening on the same day. So I thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I enjoyed attending the Our Docks Rock celebration with some of our grade 2 students and our doctors last week. The students did a really good job of painting those darn rocks. They were really cute. And I think the doctors really, really appreciated it. I also attended the Innisfil Public Library and Welcoming Inclusive Communities Committee Human Library Project presentation by Sue Raja last week. That was a very heartfelt evening, and I think it was extremely well received, and I see nothing but potential for that moving forward. I participated in the Parkland Regional Library Board meeting, as well as an Alberta Munis Drought Preparations Understanding Alberta's Water Sharing Agreements webinar last week, and that was led by the Mayor of Okotoks, so you can be guaranteed it was really well done. I will also be attending both meetings this Thursday relative to economic development and the Premier. And thanks to Mother Nature, we won't be going away camping, so I think I'll be coming to the tour out at the water treatment plant as well. Thank you.
Councillor Bates.
Yeah, I too dropped in on the Docks Rocks. The grade 2 is the perfect age for that. They're in awe of the doctors, and they bring all their enthusiasm and imagination. I also attended the drought webinar. It was quite informative. There basically was 3 panelists, one with the North Red Deer Commission, one with the City of Lethbridge, and one with the City of Calgary. Oh, do we need to? Oh, I don't know if you needed to see somebody or whatever. Yes, Mayor Thorne from Okotoks did comment quite a bit too on what had happened there, and I think they've done a lot in the last few years out of necessity to get their water licenses able to develop their community. What I got, the North Red Deer Commission hasn't really done a lot at this particular point in time. As a commission, they're letting the individual munis work on their drought plans. The Lethbridge plan and the Calgary plan were talked about quite a bit. The Lethbridge plan has been activated because that is on the Old Man River, of course, and they're in pretty dire straits. The Calgary plan is not activated. Both the Lethbridge and Calgary plan, though, they went through some of their multi-stage events on the different stages, and what I got out of it was they didn't actually cut outdoor watering completely until they hit stage 4, which I think is interesting, and we need to learn from that, I think, and potentially calibrate ourselves to that. They also, both those communities, had undertaken prioritizing their parks and picking some of the ones that they wanted to preserve if there was a drought versus others that would have to more or less tough it through. So I found that to be interesting too. I think the common difficulty that I'm getting out of the whole thing is there really isn't good government coordination and good trigger points that everybody can commonly look towards, and yeah, so there's that missing piece of the calibration. Yeah, so this week I have MPC, and I do have a visitor coming from Nova Scotia, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of the optional events.
Thank you. Councillor Messaros.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Dunham. Last week I attended the chamber meeting, and am so happy to say that so many things are moving along, and I think that we're getting into a routine. And I also went to the Innisfil Human Library session with Sue Haddo. It was amazing. Look forward to the next one. Last week I had an opportunity to go to something called a Smart Manufacturing Trade Show. I went with a different hat on, but I was able to hang out quite a bit with John Powell, and we attended a few meetings together, and I got to meet some Innisfil businesses through him and kind of do a bit of, talking about economic development, and so that was great. It was great to see him in action. This week I've got the Cape dinner with Premier Smith and Minister Jones, and I think that's it.
Thank you. Councillor Heistad.
Yeah, I don't have much to report from last week. I was away. It was awesome. And then Thursday, I'll be at the evening event with Premier Danielle Smith and Minister Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mayor Barclay.
Yeah, thanks. Many thanks to Heidi Nelson for getting the kids organized to paint the Docks Rocks on fairly short notice, but as usual, she comes through, so that was a fun afternoon. Also, was at St. Marguerite Bourgeois doing a presentation with C.O. Becker to grade 6 class, which was a lot of fun. Had a couple of business visits with our EDO, John Powell, one to No Sack Foods and another one to Blue Rock Animal Nutrition. A lot of neat stuff that they're doing at Blue Rock, and a lot of research and interesting things that they're doing. And then this week, of course, we'll be attending the Premier's event, Minister's event on Thursday evening, and the rest I will just put into my report for next Monday.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. All right, moving on to 7.1, upcoming events. Guess we're good to go. Could I have somebody make a motion that we accept the upcoming events as information?
I'll make that motion to accept this.
Thank you, Councillor Heistad. All in favor? And next, if I could have somebody make a motion that we move in camera.
I make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Messaros. All in favor? Thank you. Take 2 minutes.